Hi, I'm Jackie Wicks with PEERtrainer, and I'm here with JJ Virgin, celebrity nutrition and fitness expert. And we're in video 2 of our training series about the cleanse. You know, last video we talked about the right ways to do a cleanse and the one thing that you must never do. And I have to say, one thing I've seen that really helps people succeed is just to break this down in doable parts. Really find the one thing that will help you get a win and help
the needle mover.
Exactly,
Yes.
the needle mover. Exactly.
Yes.
And one thing that we've seen is that when you get the protein and the greens up and you get the sugar out, it's a really doable thing. But how do you do this at breakfast? And
I know, because breakfast is dessert for most people.
It is. I mean, how many times have you said, I'm going to do really well today, and then you're late for work, and then you say, okay,
Starbucks.
just this last time, I'm going to get the apple fritter and the latte,
but not
I won't
even that.
do
Let's
it
say you're
next
trying
time.
to be healthy, and you're getting a skinny vanilla latte.
Yes, yes.
And a bran muffin, which is, by the way, look at what that muffin's in. That's a cupcake, okay? That's an adult cupcake and an adult milkshake. So we got to change breakfast. And you know, breakfast sets the metabolic tone for the day. What I mean by that is if you start breakfast out with that cupcake, you're telling your body right then and there to start burning sugar. And I don't know about you, but I want to tell my body to burn fat all day long.
And once you have that sugar
you're
craving,
done.
at lunch,
Every
sugar
couple.
craving.
Well, you don't even make it to lunch. Who are we
Yes,
kidding?
exactly.
You have that muffin at 8 and 10, 10:30,
10
you're
o'clock,
like, hello.
Where's
yes,
Starbucks again?
where's
It
the
just sets
muffin?
the entire day off
Okay,
in a
so
different way.
great. Here's the great tip. This is the one I want you to own, okay? We talked about in video training number 1 that this only works if you do this. Start the day with a smoothie. Not a shake, not an adult milkshake. We're going to start the day with a smoothie, and we're going to give you that exact recipe that we love. That we we actually put this together because I had mine, and then you added in the kale and the spinach. But you're going to start your day with this with great protein. By the way, no whey.
No,
and when I mean no W-H-E-Y. No way. We're going to talk about some of the foods we're pulling out of the diet, dairy being one of them, in a little bit. So hang tight there, and you're probably already going, my cheese. So just breathe. Stay with me on the shake for now. We're not using a whey protein shake. We're very specific on the type of shake we want. We use a vegan pea rice protein. We use one that has less than 5 grams of sugar, has no maltodextrin. Look at those labels, no artificial sweeteners in there, no garbage, okay? So this is really important. If you're taking supplements that have mag stearate, stearic acid, some of these other problems in there, maltodextrin, you're doing yourself some bad things. You know, don't do that. So you're going to pick a shake, a clean, lean protein to start that shake with. You're going to use coconut milk. And we love so delicious.
Yes.
Unsweetened coconut milk. We love that.
It's right either in the grocery section, or JJ pointed out there's also boxes of the coconut milk in the
it's like where the soy milk is that you're avoiding.
Yeah,
so where
exactly. And and what's great is that you'll see it in the refrigerator section, or you'll see it in the aisle, and you can just have it whenever you need it.
Yeah, you can travel with it.
It's not like you have to think about it. It's just there.
So you keep that. So I always have some in the fridge, but then I get the aseptic pack, so I keep it in the cupboard, so I never run out. And then we also have a great fiber supplement. We'll talk a little bit about fiber. I throw fiber in and some extra seeds. These are either freshly ground flaxseed meal or chia seed. And then frozen berries. And we like to have an organic frozen berry because berries are like little pesticide-y sponges. So we always go organic there. And then, of course, kale or spinach. And I know I just rattled through that, and you're like, whoa, rewind. Don't worry. You can download our little shake recipe right now and grab that so you can go and start having your shake every day. Because again, I want you to start the day with a smoothie because you're getting that protein in. Remember, protein is critical for detoxification. And if all you did was start here, and I'm going to want you to do more, but again, that one needle mover, this is the big needle mover. You know, I had one gal who wrote me and she goes, all I didn't listen to anything else you said. Like, nice. You know, I didn't listen to anything else you said, but this was such a great testimony. I'm like, I forgave her. Iris. But I did the shake, and she goes, I cannot believe it. I've lost weight. My energy's better. She's like, I'm so much more confident. I'm like, all you did was have a shake, and you're more confident.
And it's the one thing, and what's great is it's when you have it at breakfast, it's setting you up for good choices during the day, because that's really how people get messed up. They have a great attitude when they begin the day, and then they were late, they did Starbucks, and then it just builds on. They said, you know what, I've already messed up at breakfast and lunch.
I'll start
Why
tomorrow.
even bother? And so this happens to be one of the best things that I've seen for people on PEERtrainer who are really struggling with, I really want to make a good choice, I really want to eat something well, but I'm having trouble understanding how to do this in 5 minutes at breakfast when I have so many other things going on.
Right. Well, this is so quick. And here's the other thing that I've seen is people actually save money doing this.
Yes.
And that's the thing I love the most, because sometimes we'd say, hey, you know what, eating healthier, it's more expensive.
Yes.
This will save you cash. Okay, so you save time, you save money. I mean, what's not to love here? And the studies show that people who replace a meal a day with a meal replacement shake, high quality again, on that shake recipe, we're also going to give you what you need to look for in your protein shake, right? But people who do that actually lose more weight and keep it off.
And what's not to like?
Yeehaw! So can I give you another needle mover?
Please.
And this is one that most people, I believe that most people fail on this one because they don't realize the importance of it, and that is sleep.
Yes, I knew.
You know,
the second you said it, I knew you were saving up for sleep.
And you're going, why is this important? I'm cleansing, isn't it? Like, shouldn't I like stop drinking soda? Well, yes, you should do that too. But actually, one poor night of sleep, that means one night where you don't get your 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. And you know, somewhere in the 7 to 9, I know I'm better with 8 and a little bit. Some people do fine with 7.
I'm better with 9.
Yeah.
I am.
So somewhere in the 7 to 9 is your little hit zone, your perfect time that if you went on vacation and you allowed yourself to sleep as much as you needed, after about day 3 or 4 when you caught back up, you'd just find out what you naturally needed. And that's what you really need to strive for. I find most people just don't make it a priority. Here's why you need to make it a priority. One poor night of sleep where you don't get that 7 to 9 hours of sleep creates hormonal hell in your body. That all of these different hormones, and we're going to talk about ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone produced by your stomach to tell you you're hungry. So when ghrelin's high, you're hungrier. One poor night of sleep, ghrelin's higher, telling you you're hungrier. One poor night of sleep, cortisol, the stress hormone, which makes you lay down more fat around your waistline, age faster, lower the sex hormones, especially testosterone, so you lose your sex drive. Cortisol is higher. So now you're better at storing fat around your waistline. It also elevates your fasting blood sugar, so you're going to want more of those adult cupcakes, right? And it depletes your serotonin. When cortisol's up, serotonin's low. If serotonin's low, you're going to crave sugar too. And you're more insulin resistant. What that means is that if you do have the adult cupcake for breakfast, you don't listen to us have a shake.
Yes, right.
Don't come whining, right? But if you have that cupcake, now insulin's elevated more than it should be anyway, and you're just going to go store that fat right around your waistline. So you're more insulin and leptin resistant. What does this all mean to you? You're hungrier and not for chicken and broccoli.
Your belly, you can't understand the bloat.
You can't burn off belly
seem to
fat.
Understand
Yeah.
why you keeps getting bigger and bigger as you're making better and better
and
choices.
Here's an amazing thing. Again, that one poor night of sleep is a big source of stress on your body. And what stress does is it makes your gut wall more permeable. So you actually, we're going to talk a little bit, not quite yet, but we're going to talk about how your body reacts to foods and creates inflammation. So it actually starts that process as well. So, I mean, hello, good night's sleep. So let me give you that one tip on how to get a good night's sleep. First of all, now you realize how important it is. If I had to pick just one thing for weight loss, my number one tip for weight loss, and I know I'm pointing at you, I'm not supposed to be pointing, but that number one tip for weight loss would be to get a good night's sleep. So you have to make time for it. And I find for most of us, we kind of get caught up in the night.
Yes.
Right? And we're like doing all this stuff that's very stimulating, and then we're like, okay, I have to go to bed.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
woo!
Right. You planned everything but sleep, as
Now
you've
kids
even
do
said.
this.
Yes.
I'll never forget walking into a nursery once where I'd left my kids and I went to the gym, and I go into the nursery and my son is in the middle of the floor with the blanket over him, because kids can run around and then boom, they go to sleep.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We don't do that. Just like kids get full and they don't eat dessert, and we don't do that. You know? So you need to plan this. So what you do, take your alarm clock. I mean, this is as simple as grab your iPhone and set it for an hour before bedtime, before when bedtime should be, right? So if you know you're getting up at 6, bedtime better be 10, and your hit time for powering down is a 9. And so that alarm goes off, and this is when we putz around and we get, you know, all that mindless stuff. You know, you pick up
email
stuff.
you haven't checked.
No email you haven't. I'm so glad you.
This is when you do. This is when the normal person does
okay.
it. Not
you
normal,
don't do
but
your
you
email
don't
now.
do- but
I was
this
like,
is when
no,
you
you don't,
think.
Jackie.
Right?
You don't
no,
either.
I know.
So that hour there, power down, no email, because you know what? Ever notice at night when you check email at night, what happens? It's that email that you can't do anything about.
And
you know?
you're focusing and ruminating
like, oh my gosh,
on what
oh
you
my
can't
gosh,
control.
oh my gosh,
Yes.
oh my gosh. So it's not technology. Technology goes down, and you're just going to putz around, pick up stuff, get in the bath, read a good but not great book, right? And go to sleep.
Yeah,
I read
and I
it.
can even
Darn
read
it.
a great book, and I'm still.
See, I can't. I read a great book, and I'm like, so I tell people read a good, not great book. I think when Dan Brown came out with his latest book, I'm like up all night. So I'm just anyway. So that's another big needle mover is the sleep thing. Huge, and the alarm clock setting it for an hour earlier.
And JJ, you've said this. I want you to talk about the secret weapon for hunger cravings, because that's really the thing we hear all the time is I was great all day and then 5 o'clock hit, 6 o'clock hit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I want everything that I can possibly get my hands on to shove in my mouth.
Well, part of it, of course, is meal timing. Make sure you're eating. Like when you have that great shake, you set up the day, and of course, the secret weapon goes in the shake, and then when you have your lunch, and so you're eating specifically. Part of when we do our cleanse, we have specific times that we tell you to eat and reasons for doing that. But the other thing is, within each meal, we really focus on fiber. Fiber is this thing that it's this amazing weapon. And I know I talked about in training video number 1, and you can tell I'm just going to keep hammering on it, because if you incorporate fiber, and of course we use our special fiber blend, but also we use chia, all the seeds are great for fiber, legumes are great fiber, berries are great fiber, and loads of non-starchy vegetables, because you want to eat fiber each meal because it slows down stomach emptying, it helps balance out blood sugar. So a lot of times we're getting the hunger and the cravings because again, we start to trigger, like if you have an empty stomach, ghrelin comes up and tells your brain you're hungry. But if you've slowed down stomach emptying by using fiber, then you're not getting that ghrelin rise, right? So you feel fuller, longer, huge. And by using that fiber, you get that steady blood sugar response. So you don't have that boom that you go, okay.
How many of us can relate to that?
Yes, we've all done that.
And if you're hearing chia seeds or you're hearing these things and you're a little intimidated, we make it really easy for you to do this. And almost at an advanced level, you start to add different things in that make the shake really uniquely yours.
Yeah, so you'll get that shake recipe again, and also what to look for in a shake mix, because I want you to be very careful there. I see a lot of garbage out there, like artificial sweeteners or maltodextrin or too much sugar. So we have to be very careful there. And again, we're focusing on a vegan pea rice protein, no way. That's so important. I also want to emphasize, we talked about fiber as this great secret weapon, and over the 25 years I've been doing this, like 25 years plus.
I'd like you to talk a little bit more about that, because that's the whole reason that we. Okay. We won't.
I want people to go, how could she be doing this for 25 years? Did she start when she was 12? But it's the cleanse. That's why I look this way. But other things, a lot of this is really about having a very healthy gastrointestinal tract. It's one of the reasons we love fiber. It feeds the good bacteria. But the other things that are important there are enzymes to help you digest well. They also help break up allergenic complexes from food. I know we'll talk a little bit more about that. And probiotics are huge here. I think the big things we're starting to look at in weight loss is healthy gut flora, and that balance between healthy gut flora and bad gut flora. Because if you have too much of the bad because you're eating a lot of sugar, which feeds the bad bacteria, or gluten-containing grains, some of this other stuff, you actually will extract more calories from the foods you eat and store them as fat. So you could be eating the same amount as anybody else. I actually had a client doing this. She could not figure out why she was 40 pounds overweight, and she had this bad bacterial overgrowth. So probiotics actually kind of push the bad out and get the good up. It's like your warrior defense.
And I know so many people are even happy to hear that, because that might be them, and they get really frustrated.
It's not your fault. But that's the big thing, I think it really resonates when people start to hear about the idea of weight loss resistant, and that your body is just fighting burning off the fat, because you kind of go, gosh, it's not my fault. But I will tell you that what I see out there is people are weight loss resistant, again, toxins, stress, bad bacterial overgrowth, but they're also diligently following the wrong program.
Right. Like, to a T, yes.
Yes, they're eating foods that they think are healthy for them, but that can actually hurt them.
Well, that actually leads to the best thing. What foods do you remove on the cleanse?
Okay, now I want to tell you which foods you're going to remove, and we're going to follow this right up, so I just want to tell you this before so you don't have a heart attack as I'm telling you this. That right after this, we'll tell you what you will eat, okay? So you're going to hear this and go, no, what do I eat?
How would I do that? Right, but, that's very true.
Yeah, okay,
very
so
true.
Set up. But what I found over the years, and actually the way I found this is I for the last 15 years, I've been helping doctors put nutrition into their practice. And for a while, I was using a food sensitivity test, a food intolerance test, to see how people were reacting to certain foods, because we found that when we pulled those foods out, a couple cool things happened. We were using it to help with joint pain, with energy, with gas and bloating, with mood. But what we found was 70% of the people were reacting to these foods or more, okay? Because there's different ways. We were only looking at one type of food reaction, and there's multiple different types, some immune mediated, some not.
70%.
But 70% just in this one specific way, we're reacting to a couple of common foods. Common foods we think are healthy for us, 70%. But what I really loved was when we pulled these foods out, again, to help with joint pain, to help with fatigue, with mood disorders, etc., the side effect was fast fat loss. And I always loved it because I was like a hero, you know? Right. It's like people were like, wow, you know, they'd come in because they go, God, my arthritis, and they'd stay for the weight loss. Now we've really flipped this around. We've realized, well, these are foods that, again, people are usually eating every day. They think are healthy. They're actually hurting them. They're hazardous to their health. And so when you think about detoxification, one of the first things we have to look at is what are we eating? That's one of the classic ways we're really toxifying ourselves. So gluten, which is in so many things. You know, we think of gluten-containing breads or grains like bread, of course, wheat bread, but it's also in a lot of mustards, pickles, cold cuts, you know, processed foods.
Soy sauce, even a sushi roll that you're not eating soy sauce can, that seaweed that wraps it can have wheat and gluten. It's in so many things.
Gluten's a huge one. I mean, I see miracles occur when we pull gluten out. Dairy is another one. When I talked about the 70% of people reacting to things, dairy and eggs were the key, which bummed me out because, I mean, Greek-style yogurt and eggs are like most people's go-to foods.
Hard-boiled eggs in the morning. Yes.
And that's why, because we get stressed out. Our gut gets more permeable. We eat these things every single day, day in, day out, and our body reacts to them, builds up little antibody responses, and those antibodies grab onto those proteins and create immune complexes. Now, if we were only eating them every once in a while, we could get rid of those immune complexes. But when you're eating the same thing every day, those immune complexes build up, and they create gas and bloating, weight loss resistance, fatigue. And so what's amazing when you pull these foods out, gluten, eggs, dairy, I always have to count, corn, soy, peanuts, and then I put sugar and artificial sweeteners together, but in reality, artificial sweeteners are way worse, but I put those two together. We find when people pull these out, and again, it's because food is information, and these foods are creating a different type of reaction. Ultimately, whether it's because of insulin or it's because of that immune response, the reaction's all the same. It's inflammation, and inflammation raises insulin and cortisol, and again makes you store fat.
And did we say corn? Did you say corn?
Corn. Oh, so if I didn't say corn, corn's in there too. Corn, soy, gluten, eggs, peanuts, sugar, artificial sweeteners.
Soy.
We'll give you the 7. Okay,
yes.
We'll give you the 7.
And the thing is
because you're trying to write them.
And when people hear this, they say corn. What do you mean? What about my main sweet corn that I eat?
Corn. Okay, so here's the deal. We like to call corn the swine fattening formula because you know what they feed cows and pigs?
Corn.
Why?
Because it's cheap.
And it fattens them up.
And it fattens them up.
It fattens up. So if it's fattening up the cows and you're eating it, like you're eating popcorn as a diet food, but they're using that with the cows to fatten them up, like disconnect, okay? So corn, we could go into extreme detail on the corn and soy and why all these things are so bad. You're just going to have to take our word for it right now, and I will tell you just to try this. I have people pull these foods out immediately for 7 days. I'll tell you the first like 3 or 4 days, you're going to be, if there's a food in there that you really react to, you're going to be dying for it. So you hear that with cheese.
Dying for cheese.
Yes, I remember that. And I say, that's so good. That's so good.
Where cheese and the first couple days, and it was really challenging. And she is going to talk about what we do eat.
Yeah, don't worry. But I want you to frame this. So if you're all of a sudden we're pulling out your Greek-style yogurt and you're going postal, this is a great thing because it means that you were reacting to it because you crave the very foods that are hurting you. So as we're pulling these foods out and you're going, oh my gosh, I have to have some sugar or I have to have that cheese or when do I get my eggs again?
Yes.
Just know after about 3-4 days, whine like crazy for 3 or 4 days, you know, and then know that about that point, all of a sudden your energy is going to pick up, your skin's going to clear up, you're going to drop some bloat. Most people will lose 5 to 7 pounds.
Most people lose 5 to 7 pounds just in the first.
And then they were mad for a couple. Yeah, they were mad for a couple days, and then like, oh, we love you so much.
Yes, and they say I've been trying for so long, either to lose weight or to lose the last 10 pounds.
Yeah.
We hear this on PEERtrainer all the time. Are you kidding? I had no idea that this could be my eggs.
Yes, it's the foods that you're eating every day. So we do that for 2 to 3 weeks. You're going to try that, okay? No, 2 weeks you're going to do that.
14 days.
As I say, don't try, do. Yoda says,
Yes.
don't try, do. So those are the foods you're pulling out.
And you've done so many things for 14 days.
Yeah, come on,
I know
it's
so
14
many of you have
days.
children. I mean, we did that for 9 months. This
Yeah,
is 14
this is
days.
nothing.
And by
10
the
months,
way,
honey,
most
10.
people I hear, right, but most people I hear of, but I have this, I have my sister's birthday party I've been planning for 6 months. There will never be a good time.
Never,
You will
no.
always have your coworker's party, your sister's graduation, something. There will never be a good time. It's just 14 days. You just
Yes.
commit to it. You
You'll
make
be
that,
blown
you make
away.
that decision.
Blown away when it happens. So the deal is, we just told you what to pull out, but we have to, because I know what we always get
Yes,
asked.
yes.
Like, so what do I eat now?
What do I eat?
Well, of course, the shake. I mean, honestly, a lot of times, because I do this periodically, I usually will do this a couple times a year just to re-challenge, and that's when I'll do 2 shakes a day. Because I save time and money
Yes,
and I'm
yeah,
lazy.
it's so much
you know, I'm
easier,
so
I
lazy.
know.
I travel with my Magic Bullet and all my shake stuff in those little boxes of coconut milk from So Delicious. But you'll start the day with the shake, so that one's done. Or if for some reason you can't start the day, you can end the day with the shake. So you can
Yes.
use a shake for 1 or 2 meals.
I've done that too.
Very easy. You can eat loads of non-starchy vegetables. Have at it, you know.
Yes.
I mean, oh my gosh, have you tried those shaved Brussels sprouts yet from Trader Joe's?
No.
Coconut oil, shaved Brussels sprouts, a little bit of shallots and garlic. I'm telling you,
Oh, I love
best
shallots.
things ever. So loads of non-starchy vegetables, clean, lean protein. Again, grass-fed beef, wild fish, clean chicken. You're going to have that at each meal. And again, if you are going to have the shake for dinner instead of breakfast, then have chicken and spinach for breakfast. Eat lunch or dinner for breakfast. Do not eat breakfast food for breakfast because that's dessert. Of course, we're doing berries and apples, nut butters, not
And a good
peanut butter.
fat
Yeah,
avocado.
not peanut butter. We're going to trade that peanut butter for almond butter. We're going to trade the milk for coconut milk. We're going to trade the Greek style yogurt for coconut yogurt. We're going to trade the butter or the mayonnaise for hummus or guacamole. You see how easy that is?
And it's such an easy, when you start to think about the pico de gallo or the avocado or all these things, you start to
Yeah,
even
it's
use them
delicious.
as dressings and sauces, really for these things that you have every day.
Yeah,
It just becomes
so I'll give you
changing.
another easy one. So let's say that you're going out to eat. Here's the easiest place to go out to eat is Chipotle.
Yes.
All you do is you go in and get a salad, have double fajita vegetables, get the chicken. You can do a little bit of black beans, and then do some guac and salsa.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
It is an unbelievable
And you
lunch.
just ate from the plate. I like to tell people to eat from the plate. So the plate is clean, lean protein. So again, we talked about pea rice protein in your shake, wild fish, grass-fed beef, pasture-fed pork, lamb, chicken. And then you've got healthy fats, avocado, hummus, nuts and seeds,
Coconut
coconut
milk.
oil. Palm fruit oil is another great one. And then, of course, the
Hummus,
fat in the
tahini,
fish.
yes.
And the fourth category are high fiber starchy carbs. So those are things like apples, berries, sweet potato, lentils, legumes. So again, things that I call them the slow, low carbs. This is where you want to think of whole foods, less refined. So if you were eating a bagel, you know,
Right.
you're eating a sweet potato.
Yes.
Okay, so it's things that are just have a slow release of sugar and just eating a little bit of that. When we look at the plate, it's you know, an optimal amount, usually somewhere in the 4 to 8 ounces of clean, lean protein, and then a couple fat servings. That would be like, you know, half a cup, a third a cup of avocado, and then it would be lots of non-starchy vegetables, and then a little bit, say half a cup of a high fiber starchy carb. So you see how easy that is to put that all together.
And so almonds you can do as a base of your dressing. There's so many different combinations that you can make within the plate.
Yes, it becomes very easy. So the next video, I know one of the things we have a load of questions,
Yes.
and we know the top questions. So the next video, what we're going to do is give you some key noodle movers like we've been doing all along, but more importantly, we're going to answer your top questions. So if you're sitting there thinking, I can't do this because, hold on. Video number 3 is coming, and we'll get you all squared away, because the biggest thing that we want to make sure that happens with all of this information is that it gets used.
And PEERtrainer is about being doable, and so we have really come up with a way to make this a way that you can really do this in your life.
Right. So just one more thing. Before our next video that will be coming to your inbox shortly, make sure you start that shake, okay?